Welcome to Peppol Academy, and thank you for joining this session. My name is Ari Caesar, and I will be your guide for this second session of Peppol Academy. Today we are going to explore how businesses can transition from manual to digital transaction methods. We'll give you an overview of general transaction processes and help you to reflect on your current methods. Whether you're handling payments, invoices, or other transactions, it's critical to assess where you are today and identify the next steps in optimizing your AP and AR processes. When you switch from manual processes to digital methods like e-invoicing and e-orders, it may feel daunting. This often brings up concerns about IT expertise and investments, and in particular operational efficiency. To improve your operational efficiency and stay ahead of the competition, it's important to assess your current processes in accounts payable and accounts receivable, including tech stack, and pinpoint areas where efficiency can be improved. What's your process for managing and exchanging transactions? Let's deep dive into the most common practices and compare the pros and cons. Paper and PDFs are still the most common formats and exchange methods in transactions. If you're only managing a handful of suppliers and customers each month, adopting digital solutions beyond handling PDFs may not have been seemed worth the effort or the cost. But while this approach may work in the short term, it comes with a hidden cost and risks. Typical pain points include time-consuming, repetitive manual tasks, the risk of human error, and limited ability to analyze your data efficiently. These issues may make the process more expensive, not just for you as a buyer, but for your suppliers as well. So let's assess where you stand. Ask yourself, do I have the time to manually enter invoices into my ERP system? Is the current process leading to errors? And what are the regulatory requirements in my industry? These are key questions to help determine if your current system is sustainable or if it's time to scale. Many of you may currently rely on OCR software to extract information from supplier invoices and avoid the need of manual entry into your accounting system. 10 years ago, OCR was a cutting-edge solution, offering significant advantages over handling paper invoices. But today, it's considered legacy technology with some significant limitations compared to modern alternatives. The core issue with OCR is that it struggles to interpret the information perfectly from PDFs. PDFs and scanned invoices are essentially image files, lacking the structured normalized data that e-invoices and other electronic business messages contain. This often leads to missing or misinterpreted information, which introduces errors into your financial processes. These errors require constant manual oversight for quality assurance. Moreover, the OCR often captures only the header data, meaning the full invoice still needs to be transferred manually into your ERP system. Questions you may ask yourself. Do I have a sufficient method to monitor and ensure quality control? Is my process scalable in transaction volumes increasing? And how does the cost of using OCR compare to efficiency of adopting electronic business messages? These questions will help you to understand whether it's time to move on from your OCR to more advanced solutions. The next step for most would be to keep the process intact but outsource the work. In other words, using OCR scanning service provider. This setup can make your internal process more efficient and can scale with your transaction volumes increasing. However, whether the work is done in-house or outsourced, the same technological limitations of OCR apply. The issue with PDF remains. They don't provide the structured normalized data you find in e-invoices or electronic business messages. This leads to frequent errors due to missing or misinterpreted information, requiring constant manual intervention to ensure data quality. When you depend on an external provider for such critical process, you're also exposing yourself to additional risk, like missing invoices or delayed deliveries, which can affect your entire operation. Moreover, these services often come with a high cost per transaction and ongoing support needs, making them expensive as a solution overall. So let's assess your current setup. Does your service provider have a strong process to monitor and ensure quality control? Do you have sufficient process in place to verify quality? Is your current process scalable as your business grows? And how does these costs compare to electronic business messages? Answering these questions can help you to clarify whether outsourcing OCR is still a viable option or if it's time to consider more modern digital alternatives. Even though PDF isn't the optimal format for lossless data transfer, new technologies have improved its usability and processing quality significantly in recent years, all thanks to rapid development of artificial intelligence and large language models. New services can now at scale convert PDFs and image files to any XML-based e-invoice format for ERP and workflow processing with greater precision than ever before. For example, Qualia can offer PDF to XML conversion with close to 100% accuracy and enrich the data with line-level categorization, pre-posting, and carbon footprint data, significantly improving workflows, spend analytics, and reporting capabilities. Next, let's talk about electronic data interchange or EDI. This is a widely used method to create dedicated digital connections between two business partners. Once established, EDI connections are robust, with full digital formats, generally lossless data transmission, and machine-readable data. However, it's a point-to-point connection, which means it's highly customized for each partner. While EDI is reliable, the process of connecting new suppliers can be a significant IT challenge. Establishing custom conversions and mappings between different data formats can take between 40 to 80 hours of work. Any change in the ERP system on either side may require the entire setup to be redone. EDI also requires continuous maintenance, meaning that your team needs a high level of internal IT expertise to keep it running daily. In other words, not an option for small businesses. But there are benefits. EDI is ideal for businesses with limited networks of suppliers or customers that handle very high transaction volumes, as it provides a stable, fully digital connection. Another option for managing point-to-point EDI connections is using a solution provider, which can be much more convenient than relying on internal IT resources. In this model, the service provider takes care of the technical aspect, setting up connections, handling integrations, and transforming files, making the process much easier for your business to manage. However, while this ease of use is a significant advantage, the cost to set up can be really high. You will face not only implementation and support costs, but also fixed fees and volume-based transaction charges, which can become cumbersome over time. The benefit here is that, like traditional EDI, the solution is well suited for small networks with high transactional volumes, offering a reliable digital connection. It's important to weigh in all these factors carefully to ensure this approach will align with your current industry and long-term strategy. Another option to consider is using a value-added network WAN service provider. Unlike point-to-point EDI, WAN providers offer a more flexible and scalable solution through the four-corner model. They connect directly to your ERP system and often provide a complementary web-based portal, maintaining connections and interoperability with other WAN operators. Incoming messages are transformed into your in-house format, and outgoing messages are similarly handled by the provider. The benefit of using WAN is significant compared to EDI and scanning. It often offers a greater scalability and simplify the connection processes. It makes it easier to connect with suppliers and customers regardless of their network and formats. The service providers handles most of the technical implementation, reducing your internal burden. However, there are some downsides to consider. The overall cost is high, from support service to per message fees. You become dependent on the WAN provider, which can pose a risk if the service availability is compromised. Traceability is often low. Messages can be lost between WANs, and tracking down errors can take time. There is no 100% guarantee that your message will always get through. Like traditional EDI, this solution is ideal for small networks with high transactional volumes. But again, the operating cost and implementing cost are significant. Relying on a third party can limit your flexibility and future development. Let's move on to the next and the latest phase of development in transaction methods. PEPAL is truly a game changer in the world of electronic business messaging. Unlike point-to-point connections or relying on WAN providers, PEPAL allows companies to connect directly using common participant directory and unified exchange infrastructure and standardized format. This means you can send and receive a wide range of business messages like e-invoices, e-orders, e-catalogs, and more, without need of multiple custom connections. With PEPAL, you only need one setup through an access point to reach the entire network. You find your business partners quickly using Open Participant Catalog and PEPAL ID. It's already established across Europe and is quickly expanding to countries in Asia and Americas. The standardization of PEPAL offers simplifying the process and reduces the costs across the supply chain. While it's still relatively new technology and less known than alternatives like EDI and WAN, most companies already using electronic messaging are likely to have access through the existing providers. The benefits of PEPAL are substantial. It's by far the most cost-effective method available. You get built-in international compliance, making it easier to meet global regulations. Using the European standard secures compliance with upcoming policy changes. The open, transparent participant directory makes it easy to find business partners. Significant resources are being invested across Europe and beyond to ensure PEPAL stays ahead with new technology and new use cases. However, there are few downsides to keep in mind. The network is still relatively new and might be less familiar to some businesses. It may lack support for highly specialized and complex messages. Overall, PEPAL offers simplified, cost-effective, and future-proof approach to electronic business messaging that's quickly gaining momentum worldwide. To summarize, we have explored the transition from manual to digital processes, highlighting the inefficiencies of PDFs and OCR, which leads to errors requiring constant manual oversight. We talked about artificial intelligence, improving the data quality of PDFs, and the possibility to transform it to XML similar to PEPAL. EDI works well for small networks with high transactional volumes, but it's costly and difficult to scale and requires significant IT maintenance. Using a service provider for EDI eases some of the burdens, but adds high cost and creates third-party dependencies risk. VAM providers offer more scalability, but comes with higher cost and issues with traceability, which can affect reliability. Peppol, however, is a game changer. It's the most cost-efficient, scalable, and future-proof solution, offering an international compliance and simplified connections with standardized formats. While still growing globally, Peppol is quickly becoming the best option for digital business messaging. Thank you very much for listening. We hope with this step-to-step process, you have gained inspiration and knowledge how to improve your own processes. We hope you find this lesson valuable and that you keep learning more about Peppol with us in the coming lessons.